Yeah, what's true, everybody? Zenja coming at ya. We're gonna do this thing, people. Dream big, act now, love wins. Hang on for the show.
In a land where man's possessions are the milestones of his successes, our planet full of captive minds is ceasing our progression. And while our leaders' misconception breeds our seeds misdirection, we sit at home and wait for the results of the next fixed election. Wait a second, roll the math as a whole that don't add. I had a dream that breeding a congressman up in a skull and bones lab. Then an angel came to me with a pair of gloves, a lead pipe, and an old axe, and said, here's your list of demons, young man. Don't hold back, so I'm attacking my visions. I the higher depth, there ain't a system designed that can surge protect against my mic check. And I'm shattering my mind to pieces, trying to find a piece of mind slightly high in design. While my reasons supersede your rhymes that misguide, I fertilize minds and shine like weapon lights and specialize in writing crystallized lines and blessing mics. And yes, I flow this grants past city born rhymes with a climate Park Street to South Schoolhouse Creek Road. While y'all evolve slow, too busy spitting about your payroll. I be ripping lines like I'm sitting on a sway chase up in the K.O. You better lay low, cause I'm 8 years old, watching life on a big screen, tightly gripping the first player control. Since the days of old, and my first 8 souls roll in the grave with my first 8 sold. I be blazing cause player today is gold, still burning like they old cold. Suppose my pages are composed of the vocal blows, totally shaking the world up as you know. Expect to shift the poles day after tomorrow. New York expect some snow. Sent drop the higher depth of my naturally disastrous flow, you know. Now that's how that shit goes. Check this out though. Remain level-headed, spread objective, microphone confections. Question 9 out of 10 physicians, they said my flow's infectious. Marked up with minimal ink that represents my brethren. Thick bloodlines, seal thug rhymes. Dog, I don't sweat, I'm plus my crew could dead ya. Split second I end my lecture, bro, my lines are dope and I know cause I was present when I said I might smell a slight remnants of 7 and 7 blended with red-headed lettuce, keeping me bent, something pleasant, check it. My serrated edges, trim heads like hedges, insult your intelligence. I'm here to wreck shit and pawn your necklace, pawn my exit. Bomb alarms go off, send y'all the wrong direction. Dominating leapfrog, y'all, watch how I rock my session.
What's true, everybody? Welcome to the Zenjaverse. I'm so hyped today. Super excited y'all tuned in. It's going to be great. First off, that track y'all just heard was from 2005. That's Adeptosaurus Rex featuring the High Adept and the ever-amazing Liz Love, who does a lot of light work, women's groups, things like that. More about that in the call out later. Why are we tuned in here? What is this crazy Zenjaverse that we're working on? Well, I'll tell you, we're going to bring people from everywhere together in one space. We're going to leave our differences at the door. Red, blue, black, white, male, female, young, old, Christian, Muslim, all that. We're going to go ahead and come together and we are going to talk about things that we want to talk about. We're going to think differently. We're going to agree. We're going to be joyful. And we're going to make a lot of fun stuff happen. Today we have a wonderful interview at the back half of the show. We're going to have Q&A. We're going to have Starseed submissions. We're going to have all kinds of little fun things for you, as well as get further into some of the subjects that we all think are important and we can all work together on. And that's really one of the big spirits of the show, is to really realize that we can start locally, start small, and bring people together in a way that we all move forward, and we do it for the right reasons, and we do it with love in our heart. Which leads us to the first segment of the show, which is what's great about my community. See you in a second. What's great about my community? You know, I got to tell you, we do this fantastic thing every year in our small little town here, where everybody comes together on Easter, and all the kids in the community come together and have a big Easter egg hunt, and it's wonderful. And the thing is, every year people have to come together and stuff eggs for the kids, and you have Christians who think that, you know, Easter's their holiday, and you have all the way on the other end of the spectrum to Wiccans who think that Easter's, you know, their holiday, and agnostics and atheists and people who just don't think about it at all and just really all agree that at least for one day it's about the kids, it's about moving forward. it's really a wonderful thing. It's just a perfect example of how in a small community people can come together of all different walks of life and just share the beauty of nature, of children, of happiness, and just taking a day where we can all just smile and agree. So yeah, super psyched about that. Start small in your community. Let's all come together. So without further ado, I really have to get some thanks out there. Before we go on with anything else, I really need to reach out to the people who have supported me, who've endured me over the years. I know I've been told over the years quite a lot that I'm a kind of an intense guy, and all y'all who put up with that, thank you so much for being around and just being that solid rock and sounding board to grow around. And thank you so much. One of the greatest pieces of advice I ever got in my life was to surround yourself with people smarter than yourself. And every time I endeavor to do that, I just learn and grow so much more. So thank you so much to everyone in my family. My mom, what's up, Myrrhlin Parade 2.0? Thank you very much for inspiring me to just dream big, act now, and just really have a lot of faith and never be discouraged. So thank you for that, Mom. It's so on. I have to say great, huge thanks to all the people at the THI family. Wow, you guys are amazing. Just, again, you just make me feel like an invincible white belt, unstoppable with much to learn. And your hearts are huge, and your service to others is amazing. So thank you for doing that. I can't put words to it. Kim, Kim Possible, Soul Sister, thank you so much for all you do, how much you care for humanity, how much you give of yourself, how much time and energy you put into trying to do what's right for the world. And I want to steer people towards setting those examples. So I'm going to hug you one of these days. Watch that happen, Kim. So really hope you enjoy the show. And last but certainly not least, Thomas Williams. Thank you, brother. It's just like I'm going to do a whole thing about you sometime. Watch that come too, my friend. But there's just been nothing like his example, to be courageous, to do something that no one had ever done before in a way that was just righteous and good and honest, and it inspired me so much and gave me a lot of courage and strength. And that's why, this show is even here. It's not going to be the same, but it's certainly inspired by the great work by people who came before me and fought a lot of battles that I won't ever have to fight. So let's keep fighting those. Again, thank you guys so much. I love you. Go THI. The writers group out there, Team Lioness and all the boys, it's really incredible. So mwah, thank you so much. Okay, so what's next here on the Zenjaverse? I know. How about Starseed submissions? Okay, so here on the Zenjaverse, we are going to be taking submissions from little star seeds, younglings, and just all those amazing children out there who are just doing creative things. Please do send all your submissions to dreambiglovewins@gmail.com. Any kind of audio file, MP3 would be great. So yeah, kids out there around the world from New Zealand to Bulgaria, please do send it in. I would love to just, show what the young people are out there doing. Yeah, so here we go. We have up first MC Moonrock with an original song she wrote and sang called Pie and Ice Cream. Enjoy.
You're the apple to my pie and ice cream. You're the candy of my eye. And over my fields of flowers, you're a fluttering butterfly. And over my fields of flowers, when it begins to shower, you bring your umbrella to keep us dry and warm. Oh, you're the apple to my pie and ice cream. You're the captain and I'm the first mate. And when you begin to sail through a storm, you sail us back to shore. Oh, you're the apple to my pie and ice cream. You're the pollen of my flower. And when the bumblebees start buzzing by, they begin to hum our song. Oh, you're the apple to my pie and ice cream. You're the candy of my eye, and over my field of flowers, you're the fluttering butterfly. And when it begins to shower over my field of flowers, you bring your umbrella to keep us dry and warm. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed.
So, I received a lot of questions, and the Q&A section is going to be fantastic. Thank you so much for all your submissions. But before we go into the Q&A, I would like to talk a little bit about asking better questions. One of the biggest lies I ever heard is that there's no such thing as a bad question. Let's be honest, you can ask a lot of bad questions. Why is everyone against me? How come he's lucky and I'm not? How come everybody else is so successful and I can never make it? These are terrible, terrible questions because your mind will answer them incorrectly and you will begin to feel small. You'll begin to feel insignificant. These are terrible questions, right? How about, why are all Republicans racist? That's a terrible question. How come all liberals are completely out of their minds and don't want security in the country? That's a terrible question. I think we can ask better questions, for instance, like what can we all agree on? What is it that both Democrats and Republicans want together? If we set all of our differences aside and we sit down and we ask questions that really push us forward, we'll get better answers. Correct? So let's ask new questions with a new mind. Kind of wake up fresh. Be willing to unlearn things and start new. It's hard. It can be really scary. But a wise man once said that the illiterate of the future will be those who cannot unlearn the lies of our past. Thomas Williams, thank you so much for that. It's true. We need to be able to let go, all of us, every day. And so wake up and ask questions that encourage you. Ask questions that are going to take you to places where you want to go. Ask questions that drive you the direction you want to sail. Because that's what we're doing here, people. We will never sail a sea without storms, so we must make of ourselves an unsinkable ship. But we do that together. We do that by dreaming big, by gathering all that we have, gathering all of our bigness and getting it back, and being willing to be vulnerable and be willing to be imperfect, because it's perfect that we're trying. So thank you so much for all your questions. Let's go ahead and get right into that. Q&A with Zenja, Q&A with Zenja, Q&A with Zenja. Okay, so the first question comes to us from someone calling themselves JJ Jake. I don't know if that's Jake, if you were a member of Nucleus and you're supposed to Jake on it, or what the deal was exactly with that. But your question was very straightforward, very simple, something I receive a lot of in the last 2 weeks. Dude, what's your story? Well, let's answer that question. I prepared a little piece. Okay, so here we go again. This is going to be a little more clear. Well, it all started when I was born to a really interesting group of people who had been in secret societies for generations. So I was born into it. When I was a little baby Zenja, I was born into secret societies. In my past, in my ancestry, I should say, I had a lot of Freemasonry, people who worked in secret programs in the military, and a lot of other things. And as it turns out, there's a lot of kids like me, actually. There's millions of us, and we just don't talk about it. It's secret. And so I came out of the secret society closet a while back, and hopefully this little piece clarifies. But basically, from the time I was a kid, I knew about all kinds of X-Files-y stuff, and it really affected the way I grew up. And so there's a lot of different kids and a lot of different secret societies, but specifically for me, what happened was I discovered as I grew up and I was being in secret taught a lot of interesting things about science and history and all kinds of stuff. But I found out as I grew up that this structure of secret societies is really interesting, and it's very compartmentalized, and there's pyramids upon pyramids upon pyramids. And a lot of it's hidden behind non-disclosure agreements. A lot of it's hidden behind blackmail. A lot of it's hidden behind security clearances, security clearance levels that start at 0, of course, and you can work your way up to the president, who's about 13 historically. You start getting into space programs. The X-Files-y stuff really hits hard in the 40s. And at the very, very, very top is security clearance level 64. Just so you know. Now, what happened with me was because my family was in the secret society, secret space program, specifically through the Navy. I was, from the time I was a little kid, I mean like 3 years old, until the time I was about 26, I started out as a baby dealing with things that are essentially security clearance in the 40s. And even though I was very compartmentalized, I grew up knowing a lot of secret things. And it was very difficult. It was challenging. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't share the information. It was scary. It was dangerous to do so. But I never signed any non-disclosure agreements or anything like that. And by the time I was 26, I was able to defect and leave the secret societies behind, but I had a head full of questions. I just didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, really, that's what that comes down to. Now, specifically what happened in those programs with me, they use kids for a lot of things in secret societies. And in my case, since it was primarily through the Navy, the U.S. military, under the auspices of national security, it was all kept behind closed doors. And I was basically secreted away as the one male groomed from my generation into this. My brothers were all left out of this. I was drug into underground bunkers quite a bit, and there was a lot of science involving genetics, psychology, as well as the secret space programs that the Navy were running. Now, when I got out, I just didn't know what to do. I learned so many things. I really wanted to help the world with what I knew. I saw things I couldn't digest, and I didn't know what to do with that information. And I really saw things I thought could help. I saw all these wars over oil and people dying. I saw 3 presidents over 23 years invade 9 countries and kill 11 million civilians and just totally unaccountably. And I knew it was all wrapped up in secret society things. And I knew that, some secrets have to come out. Some accountability has to be there. And, I can't save the world, but I have to do something. And so I just wasn't sure what I was going to do. And it was a long time before I knew what to do with the information. And so basically in 2018, something kind of magical happened to me while I was trying to process and research and figure out what to do next with my life. What happened was I came upon an individual who changed my life entirely and was the point of a spear in information and service to others that no one else was doing. I couldn't find information or a team in the world of the mainstream media, mainstream news. I didn't know how to connect with those people. And also in conspiracy theory world or in the alt media, it was just so much nonsense. 999 fake videos for every one true, real, died in the world good thing. And as someone who'd been in Nam, basically, for, so to speak, of the secret society world and all that level of information, you can sniff out the real deal. And I knew that Tommy had been to Nam, so to speak. Thomas Williams changed my life, and his voice was just like music to my ears when I heard it. What I didn't realize when I first found out about Tommy was that he had built around him a family around the world of THI, which stands for Truth, Honor, and Integrity. And he drops hammers. You don't play with Thomas. And he is surrounded by the most loving, courageous, honest, good researchers, people who've been in the programs and found their way out, people who were outsiders and found their way in, but formed a family that really made me courageous. And they were the first people I ever came out to, besides, you know, the people I knew inside the programs that we'd speak in secret about what was going on. The THI family were the people that gave me the bravery to come out of that secret society closet and just say, look, we can do something. It might be small, but if we do it together, it'll be big. So, yeah, I didn't realize what I was getting into when I met the gentleman, but it really changed everything. And he taught me about the banking and you got to follow the money, people. Every good researcher knows if you want to find out good information, you need to follow the money and follow the blood, right? Well, that was one thing I didn't know about really at all. And Thomas hit me to the fact there was this amazing person at level 64, the absolute top of the pyramid, in control of the Mana World Holding Trust, a woman by the name of Kimberly Ann Gogoon, and we just call her Kim Possible because she does the impossible, Miss Mana. And what happened is she became the trustee of all of the money that had been siphoned and harvested off of humanity by the 1% for years. And the previous 600 trustees had just been using it for themselves and, you know, just trying to rack up titles and gold, and she'd had enough. And all of a sudden, Kim Possible's like, yo, punks, we aren't having that. We're going to give this money back to the people. And all she wants to do is rein those funds into humanitarian projects and really just help the people and give it back, you know, because it was taken from all of us, as well as all of our parents and grandparents and this kind of thing. And it really, really elevated my game, and I learned so much. So that's kind of where we're at now in this story. And that's why you have this new Zenja here doing this crazy show, because I really want to share this super important information on how things work behind the scenes to the world, and also share joy and big dreams doing it. So I hope that clarifies things. Love ya. Well, I hope that helped out a little bit, clarify a little bit of the story. We all have much more to our story than we could ever fit in a small little piece. That's why we have shows. I want to hear everybody's stories. Please do reach out. So on with the Q&A. Here's a great one, and I want to hit this head on. Why should I believe you? I've heard that a lot, and I want to say straight out of the gates, don't believe. I don't just go around believing people. I'm hard to convince, okay? I want to see data. I want to see evidence. I want to see it with my own eyes. I want to really research it from a lot of directions. I want to do the homework. I know that if I go through life just believing this person or believing that person, someone's leading me somewhere that I don't have agency over, that I don't have clarity over. My heart's not in that. For a lot of reasons, it's not a good thing to just go around believing folks. So I say instead, do your research, do the homework. It feels good. It's a fun mountain to climb. And while we are always moving forward in our knowledge and understanding, we have to be willing to let go of things we held on to greatly in the past, and maybe those things served us then, but maybe we need to believe new things that serve us now. One of the things I believe is that you have to go for it. I really believe that, and have peace in the process. And I really want everybody else to have that too. So please don't believe me. We're going to investigate things here in the show. I'm going to leave a lot of links y'all can kind of check out. And it's super important that you don't just believe people, that you really do dig deep. And we're going to do a lot of interviews on these things, and maybe we can all believe some great, hopeful things together in the future. So no, that's a great question. That was sent by a lady named Brenda, in fact. So I don't remember the last name, and I didn't write it down. But the names I thought I would, whatever. Next question was sent in by someone, Johannes. Will you be rapping on the show? Well, we're going to have a lot of original music, a lot of local music. Send your submissions, Starseed submissions and music to dreambiglovewins@gmail.com. We'll have more about that in the call-outs. But will I be rapping on the show? I kind of can't help it. So, yeah, I'll hit you with one real quick. Like, ready? Even Snoopy gonna be loopy when he hears this newbie in the mint on the patty fresh right through the Charlie Brown, don't be down. I will hold the ball for you and you can kick it all around downtown near the ground. You win a pickle. Nah, don't sweat the red-headed girl, yo, she be fickle. Lucky for you, your shrink only costs a nickel. Huh, I talk the talk, I walk the walk, and you can call me old Pappy Woodstock. And now how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if that woodchuck could chuck some freaking wood? Well, if she stopped selling seashells down by the seashore, I'm sure that she would answer if she could. But her rubber baby bumpers are just such a head thumper that a Peter Piper picked a peck and ran. And I'm not the pheasant plucker, I'm the pheasant plucker's man. And I'm only plucking pheasants because I'm mother plucking can. I might rap a little bit on the show. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. I have so many questions. Please send more. I'm going to stop at those 3 and let you think about it. I want to get into a couple other things. Show's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Keep asking, keep sending in. We're going to have some fun. However, a question I get asked a lot, so I just kind of threw this one in, did a little segment on it, was with this strange kind of unique background you have, Zenja, what are some of the most important things you learned from the bad guys? And how we can help the good guys. Well, let me tell you, I prepared a little segment I'm going to be calling the oldest tricks in the book. Okay, so we've heard that one a lot, right? That's the oldest trick in the book. Well, let's talk about that. Now, I was privy to a lot of old tricks and the oldest books you could find over the years. And let me tell you something, the oldest trick in the book is a simple one. Now, these Illuminati bad guys, they go back thousands of years. They got a lot of tricks, but they don't got any new ones, that's for sure. They're still using the same old book. Now, what's the oldest trick? I can tell you the page 1, tried and true classic, works every time, is Look-a-Badger. That's right. What's Look-a-Badger? Look-a-Badger is great. Someone's standing there, you want what they got, and you just point over there and say, look, a badger. And when that fool rubbernecks and looks over at the, mystery ghostly badger that isn't there, you can just yoink his coin. Or you can conk him over the head with a club or whatever. Now, when you think about it, it's amazing because when you misdirect somebody, what you're doing is you're creating invisibility, right? They don't see what's going on. When you create invisibility, you create unaccountability. And when you create unaccountability, you create a lot of more chaos, right? You create mystery, you create broken systems, you create an inability for people to even know there's a problem, let alone solve it if they discover it, because they don't know where it originates. So yeah, trick 1, Look-a-Badger, works almost every time, and you see it all the time in the mainstream media. Hey, look over here, look over there, because, they want you distracted, right? They don't want you seeing what they up to. So I think instead of looking across at the person on your left and the person on your right, sometimes, you know what? We need to look up. We need to look around in a different way and start really finding where the problems are, because it's usually not with just other normal everyday folks, is it? Nah, I think we don't want to get them, we don't want to let them win and look where they want us to look. We need to look where we need to look, okay? So we're going to hit some more old tricks in the book as the time moves on. So I hope you enjoyed that. I plan to make that a regular part every week. We're going to go through all the oldest tricks in the book, and we're going to learn how those things apply to, moving forward. Clarity, transparency, accountability, as well as the opportunity to all be on the same page. So that's going to be fantastic. Please do respond if you have any questions on that. Now, on another book tip, I happened to write a book a few years back. It's called Go to the Ocean, a small look at big happiness. So I would love to show you a little bit of that. And before I go into it, though, I just want to give a big shout out to an amazing gentleman, the gentleman who actually spent time editing the book, an amazing human being by the name of Chip Phillips. Chips, my man, love you, brother. You get a chance, hit up your boy. Also, too, you want to, do one of these on Deepak for me, you know what I mean? You know what time it is, okay? So, again, thank you very much, and I thought I might just go ahead and let you guys have a little bit of that book just on the house. I also will say that I plan on putting the entire book behind in Patreon. I'm trying to figure out how to monetize this whole thing. I'm a day jobbing kind of guy, but on the side, we're going to make this thing happen. It's going to be fantastic. So I'll get the Patreon set up. We'll do all that. And then there'll be a lot of fun stuff in there, including just a lot more free work and art. So anyway, thank you very much for any submissions on that end. And thank you for following the next segment, Go to the Ocean. All right, so here we go. This is from Go to the Ocean. We got the table of contents coming up here, and we'll just dig in at part 1. In a faraway time and place, there was a student living in the deep desert who said to the village elder, "Teacher, I have heard it said that all life is like the ocean, endless, fluid, ever-moving, and powerful. That God is like the ocean, full of life, connecting all life, supporting all life." "This is true," said the teacher, but the student had never seen the ocean, only endless sand in all directions. "Tell me more of the ocean, teacher. I want to know of it so that I may know all life." "The ocean is big and blue and sometimes orange in the sunset. It is wet and salty too," said the teacher. So the student went away and thought deeply about the words the elder had said. The student even tried to imagine the ocean all night long, but the student felt no happier and had only more questions. "Tell me more of the ocean, teacher," said the student. "I need more information. My head still can't grasp the meaning." The teacher raised an eyebrow. "The ocean is full of fish and coral and sunken ships and treasure chests," replied the teacher. "There. Now do you understand the nature of all life? Do you even understand the ocean?" the teacher asked. "No," said the student. "Could you explain some more? Maybe describe things in more detail, or maybe I should just think about it more, and it will become clear all at once." "You could try that. But while you are thinking about it, you should know that the ocean has names too. Some call it the Pacific, some call it the Atlantic. They are not the same ocean, but they are," added the teacher. "Thank you, teacher," said the student, and hurried off to think some more. But the days went by, and the student only felt more confused. The student did not feel any happier or more enlightened at all, and returned to the teacher. "Tell me more. I still don't understand the ocean. Maybe I am just not worthy enough or smart enough to understand. Maybe happiness is not my fate," the student lamented. The teacher laughed. "You cannot know something from a distance. You can only describe it. Words are tiny and finite. Things you can know are vast and infinite, and therefore description can never suffice as knowledge." "I believe you," said the student, "but I still don't understand." "I don't want you to believe me," replied the teacher. "I want you to know for certain. And there's only one thing you will ever know for certain, which is how you feel. And since feelings are impossible to describe, the only thing you can ever know is, therefore, truly beyond description." "I'm more confused than ever," said the student. "Of course you are," replied the teacher. "You are thinking too much. You are using the wrong tool for the job." "Then what must I do?" asked the student. "Go to the ocean," replied the teacher. "That is all." Well, I hope you enjoyed that first little piece of Go to the Ocean there. What I plan on doing is putting that whole book in Patreon. Once I figure out how to get that all squared away, anyone who subscribes to Patreon will have that in there, as well as a bunch of other stuff. They can just read the book and check out a bunch of other good things. So we're about to move on to the interview section. Oh, I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about education. But before we break into the interview, we are going to have a little musical break. So we're going to hail back to 2004, an old Zenja original we call Rock Steady.
Easy come and easy go, to and fro now with the flow. You love me now, I don't know. Every rose has its thorns and every cloud has a silver lining. You just gotta put your time in, so they say. gotta know. Don't you wanna be with me? Yeah, yeah. Oh no, no. Don't you wanna be with me? Yeah, yeah. Oh no, no. Don't you wanna be with me? Yeah, yeah. Oh no, no. But if not, girl, rock steady. And then you give me a bill. Lay me down, lady, and let your love loose. I believe in magic, I believe in you. I believe in magic, I believe in you.
Questions. Hello everybody, I'm super excited to be with you right now and bring to you our first interview here on the Zenjaverse. I couldn't be more excited. One of the things I want to do, one of the reasons I'm interviewing people in the first place is because I want to get new perspectives and I want to get people who have expertise in fields that maybe I don't or I can learn more about. People who have great ideas to share with the world, big hearts, big minds, people who have big ideas and an ability to see them through. People doing stuff in their community. So why don't we look in our very own community and find some of the most amazing people ever and see what they're up to? Well, I have a very special guest for you today because, hands down, one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life is this fully winged, dyed-in-the-wool, Joan of Arc style badass. And the answer to your question, is there a Mrs. Zenja? Would you please meet Angie?
Hello.
So without further ado, Well, let's go and introduce Angie, and we'll talk about some of the things she's interested in and some of the things we can all kind of team up on and move forward, make the world a more awesome place. All right, so first of all, Angie, could you please give us a little bit of your background as it pertains to what we're talking about today?
All right. My name is Miss Angie to most people who know me in my community. For the last 4.5 years, I've been teaching preschool in a small rural community. And I teach partly in a downtown, our in-town facility, which is preschool and daycare. And then I am also the head teacher at our newer preschool, which is an outdoor immersive preschool education experience.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so you work a lot with children. You've done a lot in the past, but specifically right now, you spend time a lot with children. And so I'm curious why you work with kids, and even when especially when it's something that seems so often thankless and underpaid, what motivates you to continue to serve others in that way?
Well, truthfully, I started in early childhood for the same reason that I would say a lot of women do. It's a predominantly female career. It was initially because I had children of my own, and the schedule allows for a certain amount of flexibility. The kids were able to come with me sometimes if I needed that. And then over time, as I saw what an important thing it is, this age of kids, this stage of development, when so many more kids are going into care every year, so many more families have to become both families working all the time, that, you know, those of us who are in the trenches every day with our friends, doing potty training, kissing boo-boos, ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, you know, hugs and cuddles, reading, napping, lunching, snacking, like all those things, they're a big part of these people's lives, and it has a lot to do with how they end up viewing themselves, you know, their place in the world, and so I saw it more as a real career and not more like a glorified babysitter, which I think is what a lot of people's perspective, including my own, I'll be honest, I had a different background originally, and I do have a master's degree, and I sort of thought, well, it's like, you know, your kids just go there to play, and it's good, but I didn't really see the huge importance and value in it until I started working in it, and now it's just important to me. Yeah.
Well, what you just said makes me think. Often I think that we, a lot of time when we're working with children, we want them to get A's in math and A's in science and A's in reading, but the whole time it seems to me a lot of kids are getting D's in social skills like compassion and communication, and we're missing it. How do you feel about prioritizing what we impress upon kids?
Well, right now, in particular, my boss and some of my colleagues are really struggling and pushing back, I mean, really, honestly, against this whole initiative of kindergarten readiness. A lot of us across the board in early childhood feel that it's becoming, I mean, it's becoming out of hand. We're living in a situation where our society, the way that we live, it's all about output and productivity, how much you can make or show, and we lose a lot of the process, which is, you know, some would argue maybe everything. So when we're looking at a situation where we're asking kids who, some of them, you know, if they're meeting the cutoff date, you know, might have just turned 5, you know, the week before they enter kindergarten, and we're asking these kids, like, do they know every letter and the sound it makes? Do they know, can they count, even sometimes skip count to 100? Can they spell and write their names? These things, first of all, cause parents a ton of stress, and cause preschool teachers a lot of stress because, what we all kind of can see and know is that it's sort of irrelevant. A 5-year-old doesn't need to know how to read. That's not a critically important situation in a literate society. As long as there's some time and care spent in teaching children to maybe love books and have a relationship with reading that is positive, they will be literate. They will read.
Maybe if they develop a joy for these things, then it'll just naturally happen.
Absolutely. And also to be given the time. The man who coined the term kindergarten, he's an educator named Frommel. I'm not like a German names guy, but he coined the term, and it literally means a like garden of children, and the idea was that you would be with these children at this age, and your job would be to be sort of like the same as a gardener's job, where you observe the plants that you're growing, and you see what makes them thrive. When they're not thriving, you observe that, and it's much more about like the individual plants and what they need in order to be the best of whatever they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's not kindergarten anymore. I mean, now it's all about, just getting ready for tests,
Making ready for college before they even know what it is.
Sure, and again, losing the value in process. When we only look at outcomes, when a kid, like for instance, as an example, when one of my friends has some beads in front of them and a pipe cleaner, and they string the beads on the pipe cleaner, and that's the end, and you look at what you have beads on a pipe cleaner. In the time that he or she my friend took to make this thing, a lot of things happened. Color recognition, the thought process about whether she wanted to make it a pattern, or how many you might have to have counting. You might have to let go of some of the beads. You might not be able to cap the ends of your little pipe cleaner or make it a bracelet. It might be too big. So you might have to make some adjustments. A lot of things happened in the making of the pipe cleaner with the beads on it that were important, and they didn't happen out loud, and they
might not be graded on it.
They might not be measurable in a way that administrators want, or those kind of systems and things, but it's there and it's important, and it's the value in it.
And it sounds like that reminds me of something I've heard called play-based learning.
Yeah, and I think that is that's all that I advocate for young children and into much older years that most people don't feel comfortable with. But the fact of the matter is, we know that the work of children is to play, and we've known that for a long time. When we start to judge play, when our society puts an image on it as something that is a reward after you do work, and that they're not in any way interconnected, that learning and playing are different things, that there isn't one in the other, is poor framing. When children are playing in an undisrupted way, when you're just observing them to ensure that they're safe, and that they're not going to damage some property or themselves or another kid, and you let them interact and do their thing, they're learning the most invaluable things. They're learning resilience. They're learning how to negotiate and to communicate amongst their peers, to find ways to play together, to learn some of their own personal boundaries, how they like to be treated. And
hugely important, right?
Absolutely. And these are the things that get lost the more that we try to prioritize rote memorization, measurable skills like reading and arithmetic. Those are things that come when you start to look at the way that we set up an education system. it is from the perspective that kids and humans in general are these sort of inert, fundamentally lazy sort of beings that have to continually be stimulated or continually have information thrown at them. But it's just simply not true. Humans are thinking, curious, working creatures, as is evident by the fact that we don't see any other animals driving around or taking spaceships anywhere. You know, like
Right.
we want to do things. And so it's the same thing with kids. When you let them play, then you're letting them really, really learn the stuff that's going to last them through no matter what.
Wow, nice. I like the way you said that. From there, could you take that into a direction of what you think a priority should be for educators, teachers, people in schools, in terms of direction, focus, goals, and outcomes? Like, what is it that we should be focused on? Like, what do you want to hear teachers talking about in a room together?
Well,
And parents.
I mean, I have two sort of answers. The one is the magic wand, like wave a magic wand. Wave magic wand, I would want us to fundamentally, as a whole society, change the way that we think about success, about life. The hubris of every generation is they think that they can tell the next one how it is. This is how the world works. And it's just simply, even if we can just shake that off and look at our grandparents' lives, we can see how very different. That's not how it always was. It's not how it always is. Things are always changing, and there's always new things and new ways to be or live. So if I could wave a magic wand, I would wish everybody could see that it is, in my opinion, sort of crazed to teach people to somehow work themselves into a system where they work all day to afford a home that they are not in all day because you have to work, to pay for a car that sits in a parking lot all day while you work.
Not just connections there.
To just for these things. I mean, and so if we could slim it down and come to a place where we're teaching people to be content, to do with fewer things, and to be more generous to the earth and the environment around us, to be more appreciative and outside more and that kind of thing. But on the flip side of that, I do recognize that we are in the system that we are in, and that lots of parents can't or feel like they're not in a position to homeschool or unschool, and a lot of that can be really scary. So I guess the other thing would be, for what we're currently existing in, is parents, guardians, and teachers have to band together. We all want the best for the children, even though we might not completely agree on the ways to get there. We don't want them to be left behind. We don't want them in a grind where they feel valueless, or where their talents and their natural abilities are undervalued in exchange for those that are sort of more, again, like tangible. You have to ask for the receipts. You got to push back on the people that are telling you that these are the ways that we have to do things with our children. There has to be, you got to ask why. Why homework? Why is homework, or how is it appropriate?
Yeah.
Where are the studies to back up that the kind of testing that we're drilling kids with is developmentally appropriate? That it's best practices? How do we compare to other first world countries, in terms of what they're doing? Because we are not at the front of anything right now. We're not the top anywhere across the, educational mile markers across the world. So what are other people doing? And also to really, really start to look at what we're valuing as academic success and why we value it. Because that's really what it comes down to.
That's a good
eventually
question to ask.
is to say, like, why does everybody have to go to college? I mean, and why are why is the framing around our education system that it's this failing, crumbling machine, but there's no accountability on the part of the government for defunding so much of the public education system, prioritizing charter schools and private schools who are really allowed to sort of handpick and cherry pick their students and numbers. And then in the meantime, just overcrowding public schools and defunding them, and then saying, "Oh, you see how it doesn't work." It's brutal. It's a huge, obviously, it's a huge part of the opportunity gap that we see now all across the land, and it's not right. People need to push back and ask, why is this happening? And ask their districts, ask their school boards, ask their states, and ultimately the federal government and the Board of Education, Department of Education, like, why are we doing these things? Where's the proof that this is what benefits our children? Where's the evidence? Like, we want to see it.
Seems like maybe we're doing it just because we've always done it that way.
Well, but we also haven't. I mean, we've had other practices and other ways we've done education, and there were times when our version of education was great because it was an industrial country, and we were valuing these certain types of intelligences so that people could join a certain type of workforce that really simply just doesn't exist anymore. So, and of course, anytime, that something gets far too big, it becomes very difficult to manage,
right?
So.
Gotcha. Okay, very nice. Real quick, like, how about the top 2 or 3 things that kids have taught you over the years working with them? Young people teach us a lot,
It's true. What I've learned from working with children is mostly that they're just people, that they have obviously a lot of needs that, possibly a grown-up doesn't have, but they're so different right from the get-go. They respond to respect, and they want to be, loved and treated with, and to, have some dignity and some agency over themselves. And when you give them that they're just the best people to spend a day with. At this point, I don't really like the idea of spending a day managing adult lives. They have so much more wonder. They're so much more understanding. It's so much easier to talk sense to them, to teach them to value, like, the tiniest lives, to protect, bugs and birds and trees and and they just teach you to look at things again and enjoy it. You know what I mean? To watch ants march along and wonder where they're going and what they're going to do when they get there, and that kind of stuff. It's real valuable. It's a much better, nicer day.
Yeah, I do that too. It's like, like if you haven't played a xylophone or like a rainbow xylophone in 30 years, and you're with a kid and you see a rainbow xylophone and they're like, bah! And their eyes just explode and ding, ding, ding. And now you, like, it puts you in the moment. That's for sure. Good, yeah. What would be on the top of the list for you on things that you would like to teach or share with kids? Like, the number one, I remember someone told me once that you need to give kids, when I was working at a place called Munchkin Manor way back in the day, Barbara, the wonderful lady there that owned that, told me that kids need goals and confidence. And there's a lot to that, but this isn't my interview. And I just remember those two things really stood out to me, that in conjunction, there's such a powerful alchemy, such a powerful force. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, kids need confidence. Confidence, resilience, and grit. Those are the the building blocks of life, compassion. But if I could only get one thing, maybe possibly, to stick into kids' heads, because most humans are naturally pretty kind and you know, I mean, they start out that way at any rate. I witness my friends all the time, you know, helping each other out and noticing that if someone is out of the group or feeling sad, I mean, you know, it's happening. They get that. So I suppose I would tell them, every parent I would tell, they're going to be so sad right now, that you should always ask why. Everybody, even your own parents, because a lot of times the things that we tell our kids and things we believe ourselves are something that we were just told once when we were young and impressionable, and then that's just what's stuck in there and that's what's true. But there's a lot of unlearning that has to be done a lot of times in life. So kids should ask, why? Why do we do it that way? Why do I think that? Why? Why?
Great questions. Yeah, that way you're not just a cog in a machine. You have agency and cognizance and causality. Yes, I love that. Is there what do you think would be the most important thing you could share with other parents?
All parents want to be the best parents they can be. We're all trying our hardest. So we should not judge one another. Like, we should help one another and support one another and share the joy and burden of parenting with each other. It can feel very lonely in this particular Western world where we all live in our little separate boxes and our life is shared through like pictures on social media. I think that saying a picture is worth 1,000 words can be true to some extent, but also too a picture can be such a lie. It's, you know, just a perfectly captured moment in time that's, you know, all primped in. That's not what people's lives look like. Everybody's just hanging in there, especially with kids, you know, and even the most confident seeming parent has moments of thinking that they might be doing it all wrong or whatever. So we have to look out for each other, and we have to ask these bigger systems. You know, we have to ask ourselves why we are willing to subject our kids to these things and the value of them. And also to remember that, especially when it comes to education and public school, that is not a free education. That is an entitlement, and it's entitled to us because we pay into that system. So it shouldn't be for that bigger system to tell us how it should work. It should be for us to tell them that it has to work for our kids and our families. Absolutely, it has to.
Did you guys hear that? One punch, boom, Saitama. Love that. So, how can we get the most out of kids?
Yeah, I don't know. We are always asking ourselves, aren't we, how we can get the most out of stuff. What can you put in to your kids? What can you give them to help them out? Last I checked, like, we choose to have kids, not kids choose to have parents. Like, we bring them here. So again, it's not outcome. It's not like how much. It's just, it's not good framing.
Yeah, no, I've heard you say before that why are you trying to get something out of a kid? What does this kid owe you?
Right,
like, why aren't we trying to, like you mentioned before, water them and nourish them like in the garden?
In the children.
Yeah. So, just a few more questions for you. Thank you again so much for your time. In terms of humanitarian projects and movements that we can kind of all agree on across different spectrums of humanity, kind of regardless of backgrounds, what do you think are some top things that we could all focus on, that humanity all agrees on, that we could just, we dreamed big and we all got together, we could do that?
Well, obviously, across the board, I would like to see people fight for equal opportunity for all children, regardless of their economic backgrounds, their, race, gender. I mean, none of it should matter. Like, all the children of the world, that's the world, that's humanity. Like, so, I mean, we have to put in, and I mean, the fact that we do have education crisis in the United States, but there are legitimate countries now where education is not guaranteed in any form to girls, or kids of a certain caste, or, so... But, so I'm trying to keep it in the vein of my thing of education. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that
Well, I'll tell you, how about I feed you another question on that, because we're down to the last couple here, and it leads into what subjects or writers are you currently following, and where can we find info on those topics? It doesn't have to be all about education. You're very well-versed, you're well-traveled, you've been around the world, you know so many people, and have had a lot of experiences. So what else brings you passion, and you know what I mean?
Right now, I'm really into van life and minimalism. I'm super into unschooling, organic child-led learning. Our own children are unschooled. They really haven't spent any formal classroom time. We found that they still manage to read and add and subtract and be pretty curious, thinking, great people. So for me, I'm super passionate about the idea of living simply, living with less, for things like more time, more exposure to different people and cultures, and yeah, I'm super into that. And let's see. And also just kind of getting back to nature. I find that's one of my huge things about having an outdoor preschool, is that we tell kids all the time that they have to save the earth. Save the earth. It's stressful for them. It's incredibly overwhelming for kids to understand, because a lot of them do at a very young age. They already understand that there's trash islands in the ocean, and and the air is polluted, and there's acid rain, and the rainforests are getting cut down. Kids know this real young. They learn it on Dora, so it's stressful for them. But we tell them, you have to save it. But then we ask them to sit in a inside place for 7 or 8 hours a day. We live in this sort of fear-based situation where we don't want to let kids even be outside in the front yard or anything like that. And so if you don't give children a chance to make a connection with nature and to love Earth, then you just can't really ask them to save it, because they won't be valuing it. They'll be valuing the things that you're teaching them to want when you put them in systems that put value on productivity and outcomes.
Gotcha.
Bottom line.
Bottom lines, exact. Thank you. Do you have any shout-outs that you want to give to inspiring people that maybe you find yourself following or in love with in one way or another? Do you want to hype some projects or share some of your big dreams?
Well, I definitely want to shout out all of my sisters and their early childhood development, and brothers. I know you're out there, but I know a good number of us out there are women. And I know that a huge percentage of us, I think the last statistic I read, over 70% are, using some kind of assistance, whether it's food stamps or government health care or whatever, because it is a low-paying job that still isn't really treated like a full profession. So all of you out there who are doing the thing, kissing the boo-boos, empowering other women to be able to work for their babies and put roofs over their heads and foods in their bellies, you guys are we're doing it. So thank you. You guys are the best.
All right, round of applause for all the soul sister soldiers out there, and all y'all brothers too who are looking after the current generation and the future of humanity. That's fantastic. Is there anything else you want to go on a finishing note here you'd like to just add? I want to thank you so much again for your time. You just have, I could ask you 101 questions. I'm sure people would want to hear the answers to. But for now, we'll go ahead and stop it there and see if there's anything else you'd like to add for the cherry on top of all that.
Nope, just help children. There's something you can do, whether it's your time spent. There's so many good programs where you just volunteer to read books with a kid for a half an hour a week. It's so little and it's impactful. Look at who's on your school board. Appreciate your early childhood development professionals. Don't forget your preschool teacher on Teachers Day, because we are teachers too.
I love it. Thank you again so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's fantastic. You know that I just care so much. We all do about kids and moving forward, and we know that teachers are they're just right there in the front lines. I don't need to explain it to you. You're an incredibly intelligent, knowledgeable audience. So if you have any questions you'd like to send our way, please do send it to your questions to dreambiglovewins@gmail.com, and we can continue these conversations and speak to that I should call out to that have some ideas, or we can move forward in these fields or some other fields in upcoming interviews. Please do. And thank you again one last time. So we will be catching you in the next segment.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. This is it. This is one of my favorite parts of the show. We're going to be doing this every week. We are going to be calling out the people we want to have conversations with. We're going to be trying to get a hold of people who are changing the world and making it a better place, who have experience and wisdom that we do not, that they can share, who they might be from a part of the world, or they might have a belief system that's so different than ours. They may look very different from us, but everybody has gold in their heart. And I want that value to come out. Everybody has gems in their mind and their spirit, and I want those shared. And I want to have an opportunity to talk about a lot of things. So for all y'all who saw the 40-minute vomit video I did where I was coming out of the secret society closet and all that, thank you so much for enduring that. We're going to go ahead and just reshoot that and put the new call out video right here, right now. All right, so check it out. I got quite a list. If anybody out there listening knows the people on this list, have them hit me up, because that's how we're going to get these things going, okay? This is all a part of dreaming big, acting now, and I know love is going to win, because we're going to do the work, fam. We're going to do the work. All right. So here it is. Here's the list. People, I need to get a hold of me. dreambiglovewins@gmail.com. Just let's do this thing, friends. Okay. Here we go. Check it out. Killer Mike. Wow, trigger warning was amazing. Goes without saying that you're doing something huge in the community and starting important conversations, around not just the United States but around the world. And you're bringing a new perspective, brother. I'm a big history buff, man, and I've been reading all kind of books my whole life in this wild upbringing I had. And I can tell you, man, that is a whitewashed history, bro. Even the hidden secret stuff, man. And we need more perspectives like yours out there. And you're just so talented, and your heart's huge. So do please hit me up, sir, Killer Mike. You know what I mean? That would just be fantastic. After that, Deepak Chopra, sir. We have a lot to talk about. I'm just super excited to speak with you about a lot of things, specifically healing. I think the world needs a lot of that right now, and I think focus and clarity, centeredness. So I think we could really move some things forward. So please do get a hold of me. Also, too, yeah. Mr. Phillips. Okay, Jen and Rob of THI fame from down under. Wow. Speaking of different perspectives, I really want to get female perspectives of history. I want to get brown perspectives of history, right? I want to get tribal perspectives of history, and I want to take the wisdom of that and I want to share it in the modern world. So yeah, I'm super looking forward to that interview. Y'all know where I'm at. Leon Logothetas, bro, Leon, the fact that we don't even know each other yet is weird to me. Like, we are kindred. Leon, The Kindness Diaries. Check this out. I watch one TV show a year. I just don't go anywhere near TVs by and large. So the 2 shows I watched in the last 2 years, I watched One Punch Man and I watched The Kindness Diaries, homie. That was nuts, money. So good. The service to others, kindness, you're bringing it. That's righteousness, and we need to speak. We need to speak, bro. Dude, I want to hug you in real life anyway, you know what I mean? So, I want to hug all these people. Dr. Hogan Sherrow, wow, what a gentleman, what a big brain. Just so all over in terms of experience, boots on the ground, in terms of understanding humanity, evolution, behavior, so many wonderful, wonderful things. He's got perspectives I really, really want to share with the world. Myrrhlin Tucker, bruh. Yo, we're going to get a hold, everyone, I want to get a hold of Myrrhlin Tucker because Myrrhlin does a lot of work in the community with kids. He also knows a thing or two about clean energy and free energy and some of the tech available. I want to hit his brain up about that. And not only that, he wrote an amazing piece on the alchemy of hip-hop, and I'd love for him to explain it. I'll try to get a link in the thing below. Cenk, hashtag Mastermind Yuger, bro. I know you probably think I'm crazy, but you got my email. We need to talk. We can bring so many people together from so many different places, man. You've done the work, and I would just feel blessed to have an opportunity to just put what we have together even for a minute and make some real change and get some real headway, because I think we want a lot of the same things. So we're going to go with Michio Kaku next. Just a visionary. There's a lot of scientists who don't see far like he sees, and I think it's super important that we're not just stuck in the data of the past, but we're always looking for new data, and we're also looking at how we can, in a harmonious way, use our scientific knowledge and just grow as human people. I think he's got a big heart and a good mind, and a lot of respect for you, brother. So, Dr. Kaku, yeah, man, please do hit me up. Joe Rogan, how do I not know you yet? I mean, are you kidding me right now? Like, you and me and Sam Harris in a room together would be berserk. Dude, we all love martial arts like crazy. We all, do I even need to explain that? Joe Rogan, Sam Harris. There's so many different groups of people. If we can just get them all together to throw one mighty punch at a time, and I think the 3 of us could, you know what I'm saying? That's an ill trifecta. Anyway, Ken Robinson into education. We all don't know about Ken Robinson. Just look him up. He did one of the best TED Talks ever. Ken, education, the future generations. I want to talk about that a lot. Okay, so Shane the Ruiner. I got so much respect for you, brother. Like, what you did, what you went through. I think in a lot of ways we have similar backgrounds, even though they're very, very different. And I think just at some point I would just really have an opportunity to, have a conversation with you, sir, and just, brother Shane, love to have you on the show. You just have so much to share, you know what I mean? And I just feel like I'm the kind of guy that could pick at your brain and we could get, we could really help people, So, please, Shane, hit me up. Afrika Bambaata, yo, bam, huh? Okay, come on now. What more do you say about Mr. Bambaata? If there's anyone on this planet who has brought people from different places together, warring factions, it was that gentleman. He made something beautiful out of it. Afrika Bambaata is one of the greatest people ever. I just love that man. Plus, he, hip-hop, right? Like, I started buying them records on vinyl in, 1980, you know what I mean? So, huge influence, and we'd love to speak with you. Mixmaster Mike. Yo, Mix, check it out. You and I, man, we got to get together, brother. You know why? Anyone who hasn't seen the Scratch documentary, yo, check that out. It's unbelievable. But Mix Mike, by the way, you're great live. Remember in Portland when you kicked over that organ and everyone, you all and the Beasties were jumping, and then you ran? Okay, everybody, I'll just stop here for a second. Okay, so normally what happens at a crazy concert is people will get all hairy and they'll grab a guitar and they'll smash it, or they might break a drum or something, but nobody wrecks their massive, $12,000 keyboard. Yo, I was at a show in Portland, and the beasties were going crazy in the center, and everyone was running around and jumping and doing stuff. And then Mixmaster Mike comes and he leaps over this organ, or made a noble attempt, sir, and just clipped it with the tip of his sneak, yo, and just boom, and just knocked that thing over, boom. And it was like not supposed to happen, and all the beasties were like, you know, looking like, oh no, you know, like, and Mix just looks at him and he shrugs and he just picks that thing up and just, oh, Mike. But no, we should talk. Next, Guru Dan Inosanto. I can't even get started on this gentleman, but we need to talk to Guru Dan Inosanto. Highly educated man. Look him up, please. One of the best martial artists that ever walked the face of the earth. Happened to be a good friend of Bruce Lee's, and happened to train my favorite martial arts instructor. So I've actually got a, you know, this connection to that training lineage. So, you know, and we've trained together before, Guru. So, like, and thanks for that, Dan. I appreciate you. Great live, man. Good to train with. Chuck D. I want to speak to Chuck D. Tulsi Gabbard. Wow. Soldier, a wonderful person. We need to speak. We'll get through this quickly, everybody, but we really got to get these conversations started so that we can blow this show up into what it's supposed to be. Marianne Williamson. Wow. Reach out to me, please. Elia Wise. Hey, we met before and I asked you a question about balance, and it was one of the greatest things ever in Ashland one time. So yeah, please do, Miss Wise. Hit me up. Aptly named. Elia Wise. Seriously. Love to speak with you. Hicks and Gracie. Obvious reasons. B Magic, Branden, Darcel. Yo, B Magic. One of the just biggest spirits you'll ever meet. Just a good example for the world. B Magic. Hit me up because we need to speak. You're so talented. I just want to share what you have with the world, man. And plus, I just love to hear from you, bro. So, Michael Franti, yes. You know, great at the Brit. Love that, man. Prince Ia, Matisyahu, Dustin Nemos of the Nemos News Network. I want to talk to Jordan Sather. Let's hear it from, FBI agent Joe DeSouza. For all y'all who don't know, Joe DeSouza is a gentleman who, he worked with FBI for a long time, and a lot of people consider him like a type of real-life Fox Mulder kind of guy. He handled a lot of very interesting stuff, and I just think we would have a killer conversation, man. We would light it up. So, Joe DeSouza, brother, please, if you get a chance, man, you know where it is. We're so close. Dylan Lewis Monroe at the Deep State Mapping Project. Man, you've done a lot of hard work. You really put in the time. You got a good head on your shoulders and a head on your shoulders. And yeah, just love to have you on. You know what I mean? And just really let you share what you have. Random Rab, hit up your boy. One of the most influential people ever. Just a wonderful musician. Look, Random Rab. I'll probably get some links down there for you. Call me up. Galactic Groove. Yeah, if y'all don't know Galactic Groove, I'll make sure to put a link in there. That guy can just bring it. Rogue Underground. You guys hit me up, okay? And Optimus Dimes and Third Eye Crew. Optimus Dimes and Third Eye Crew. You guys hit it, because here's what's up. Here's the big dream, everybody. THI World Tour, okay? We just play music when we hug everybody in the THI family from New Zealand, Australia, you know what I mean, Bulgaria, Africa, you know, the UK, all y'all, the first people I met, you're all in Europe, you know what I mean? So, here's the show. The show is Random Rab, Galactic Groove, the Rogue Underground, and this guy right here. And of course, I'd love to bring one of the most amazing musicians, one of the greatest men, and just wise beyond his years, strong, solid, honest, talented, just beyond kind of guy, great musician and artist, a guy we call the mighty Amicus, and I would love to make that the tour. So if we can make that happen, huh? Dream big, act now. That would be the tour I'd want to see. So, 4 more. Abby Martin, for so many reasons we have to speak. You are fearless. So, yes. Liz Love as well, please do hit me up. I want to get your perspective on so many things. Just energy, femininity, love, evolution, moving forward, art, children. I mean, there's just a lot of reasons I think you'd be a great interview, and people would love to hear your perspective on things, Liz. So please, if you get a chance, it'd be great. Dan Lutz and Tank, the Dank crew. Yeah, I just love to just hear from you guys. You know what I mean? We can talk about the Man of World Holding Trust and get one squared away. Let's make that happen. You know what I mean? And the last on the call out, man, Kevin Annett. And if you don't know about Kevin Annett's work, the guy's trying so hard to make real change, the most important change there is in terms of protecting children. And so if you haven't looked into that work, man, do that. So that's the call out, okay? That list, I'll post it up here. If all y'all know, any of you know those people, please do have them get a hold of me, and fast, because the interviews are already lining up quickly. And it's gonna be something else. So please do make that happen, man. Again, that big dream. If you want to see that tour, right? Like Rogue Underground, right? And Galactic Groove, Rab, and whatever Kung Fu crew I'm bringing. I'm telling you, let's make that happen, guys. Okay? So, oh yeah, speaking of which, THI. Dance off challenge. Okay, so that didn't quite work. I was hoping to have like a 60 seconds dance off. THI, people around the world, let's make 60-second videos of ourselves dancing and just blast it. Send it into the email box, and yeah, dance off next week happening. All right, everybody. This dream started in a car, so we're just going to go ahead and end it in a car. I got to tell you, 2 weeks ago, I didn't know I was going to be doing this, but it happened. And I'll tell you something, we're going to be finishing up the night here in a minute with 2 quick tracks. I think you're going to love them. But before we do that, I just want to say the final part, which is, every week we're not going to be doing a big long call out. We're going to be doing, we're going to add one to the list, and always remind everybody the bucket list call out super interview, which is, well, first, let me tell you, the one call out I want to add is David Selinger. Wow, what a guy. We're talking about an entrepreneur, a businessman, a big personality. He's got a big brain, mighty heart, just a guy I would really love to reconnect with. So yeah, Sally, if you're out there, hit up your boy. We could do a lot to affect the middle class and really change some things in the world. And I just would love to speak with you again, brother. It's been a minute. So that would be great. But I'll tell you something. This is what this is about, man. You got to dream big and you got to act now. My biggest dream was always to just interview the most amazing people and have the best conversations I could ever have, right? So here's what it is. If we can get, now all this content's going to be on YouTube. It's not monetized, there's no ads or nothing. But it goes down like this. If we can get 7,777 subscribers, okay, 7777, we can get that many subscribers on this YouTube channel, and we can really hit it hard, and we can really show people that we mean it, we want change. Here's the interview, here's the call out. You guys kind of knew this was coming, didn't you? I would love to interview Thomas Williams, Kim Possible, and the UPU. I would love that. If we can organize that, if we can get to 7777, I'm just putting that out there, man. It's a big dream. That would be the interview of a lifetime. You know what I mean? So I really want to make that happen. So anybody wants to see that happen, if we want to reach out to Thomas and Kim and the UPU and have a conversation, then we really have to mean it, and we have to drive this thing and create some bridges and reach a wider audience. I think love and truth and service to others and that idea is worldwide, and people feel it. So let's share it. You know what I mean? I will say that, like I said 2 weeks ago, I didn't know I was going to make the show. I got a calling, I got a mission, and I just went in, and I knew it wasn't going to be perfect, but it was perfect to go for it. I just had to do that, and I'm glad y'all tuned in. I got to say too, this whole thing only cost me $9.99. That's $10 basically. I used a free app called Sketch, and I used Power Director, and I paid like $3.33 a month for like a 3-month package. So for like $10, I did this whole thing with just passion and everything. So do it. Just go for it. It was fun. It may not have been, the best thing ever, but I had a blast doing it, and I hope you enjoyed it. I got to say, yeah, next week it's either going to be an interview with the incredible Dr. Hogan, Sherrow, or Myrrhlin. So tune in for that. It's going to be incredible. We're going to talk about moving forward. It's going to be fantastic. So do tune in. And last but not least, before we get to the music, I want to say thank you to the musician who put the music down for these tracks. Just an amazing gentleman. I've worked with a lot of artists and musicians over the years, and I got to tell you, there's nobody like the mighty Amicus. And, you know, even if y'all don't take me seriously, you take that gentleman seriously. He's unbelievable, one of the most talented people I've ever met. And just a real good person, a good heart, incredible mind. And through this kind of crazy time of my life, you know, a lot of people had things to say or didn't want to say anything. But I'll tell you something, that guy did what was right when it's hard and not when it's easy, you know. So I hope I made you proud, brother, with this show. Thank you so much for being such a soldier, such a good heart, and a wise man. And even though you're almost 20 years younger than me, bro, you help level me up. You help me grow and make me more of a man. So this first show, Amicus, this is dedicated to you, man. And everybody else out there around the world, THI, you know, I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. Reach out. Let's blow this up. Dream big, act now at gmail.com. Tune in next week. And yeah, we're going to do this thing. The tracks coming up are one we call Agenda 21, aka the Bully Smasher song, and the THI fight anthem. Let's do this thing. We'll see you soon. Love wins, people. We got this. Zenja out.
Yeah, we bully smashing, vocal loss of rapping. While you're mashing for rations, we eating builder burgers, dark covens getting bashed in. While all them coins that you cashin' sadly won't be lasting. Cryptic, not apocalyptic. Dollar says your collar, baby, don't match your lipstick. Pistol whip hits given by your mistress, although delicious. Can't dismiss this. Living a life of lies leaves you litless. Trying to get to witness shit hits fans for the witless. Hands off the handlebars, hollering, hey look, mama did this. Then the bad boys that like to give fat lips, slip and dip down the alley now, still don't trip. Breathe slow, we come fully equipped. Don't let your heart beat faster. Breathe slow like the master. Yeah, we the bully smashers, passion for action. Bullies get smashing for slacking on their manners, how they acting. Like me, mama never showed him how to use a napkin. Slap him right about the head and neck if they asking. Mo, I want it all. Greedy, grabby, damn slim, leave some for the land and the kids. Innocents live behind bars doing bids while dipshits rip fly cars, steal with ours, make me livid. Republicans and Democrats sucking thumbs and getting fat. Out of luck, we sick of that. We the people's where I'm at. Yeah, bougies with the weight, full of selfishness and hate, always want to control, cause they empty in the soul, that's a fact. Small acts in the hands of the masses attack. Tall trees grown by old colonies, wig please, we taking it back. Ain't thinking no slack, yeah, empty in the soul, that's a fact. Small acts in the hands of the masses attack. Tall trees grown by old colonies, wig please, we taking it back. Ain't thinking no slack, yeah, suckers hiding in the mansion. Agenda 21 has got me laughing, yeah, fuck your factions. We raise a revolution that you're after, boy, cause we the bully smashers. And like a merc selling merch for a third of what it's worth. Well, I heard of my girth at the first of my birth, cause of my lab is the brain that they brewed. I ain't trying to be rude, but the competition's screwed, cause I'm eating all the ormus and my chi is on the chain wax. Freshest of the crescents, but the freaks on flicks should know that. Don't you think? Huh? Well, yes, I'm calling yes, no, I'm blessed though. Where did all the holes in the chest go? Don't know. Oh well, the honeys take the nookie, cause my money's made of cookies. I spit it sick, but it's funny to the rookies. I spit it sick, but it's funny to the rookies. Yeah, my shit is sick. Who you after? The bully smasher. Yo! Yeah, Miss Mana pulled the sword from the stone. Now M gotta leave y'all alone. That's right, leave the throne alone, baby. Say truth, honor, integrity. We made it. Truth, honor, integrity. We made it these years. We like impossible. Within a rocket full. Spiritual tank, man. Tell Captain where I am. I wanna make it see. I wanna make it see. I wanna reach you. Like Angel Michael's wedding. Honor, integrity. We made it. We'll never sail a sea without storm. So we make of ourselves ships unsinkable.
Now it's unthinkable that we could ever fail, because we'll never quit. Our souls are not for sale. You're either informed or you're not. You either act or you don't.
You either hide or you work. Yeah, you either will or you won't. Yeah, the choice is yours. And this is not a game. Those good who know, be sure they cannot sleep. Trust of the tribe, trust of the kingdom.